My name is Sarah and welcome to the Bookish Knitter and welcome to my weekly reading update. So this is for week number 16 and this is April the 13th through April the 19th. So today's the 20th. It is Sunday. Happy Sunday, everybody. So not a ton of reading got done last week, but I did finish 3 books. I'm pretty proud of that, considering a lot happened last week. For those of you who don't follow my daily reading vlogs, basically, I'm back to work. It wasn't supposed to happen this quickly. I went in on Tuesday to talk to my boss to see about, a return to work date and all those things. And the next thing I knew, I was coming in the next day. So everything works out for a reason. I'm very, very happy. I'm going to work for 3 days next week, and I think 3 or 4 days the next week after that, and then we'll be going to full time. But I'm kind of easing my way back into it, which is great. But a lot of stuff kind of went on, so I didn't get a ton of reading done. But the books I did read, I really, really enjoyed. So let me talk about those 3 books with you guys. So the first book that I finished was The Haunted House by Francine Pascal, actually by Jamie Suzanne. She's the actual author of these books, but the Sweet Valley series was created by Francine Pascal. So if you can hear that noise in the background, Missy has decided this is the perfect time to destroy my chair by using it as a scratching post. It's fine. It was a thrift store chair. It's not a big deal. Anyway, so this is the 3rd book in the Sweet Valley Twins series. And in this book, this takes place over Halloween. So for those of you who maybe, because these are not these are available digitally if you get them as a graphic novel. They have the Sweet Valley Twins graphic novels. And I know this one was turned into a graphic novel. But if you get, if you spy this one at a thrift store or at a book sale, library book sale, or a little free library, pick it up if you want something to read for October, because it does absolutely take place over Halloween. So basically in this one, a new girl named Nora moves to town, and she is moving in with her grandparents into the old haunted mansion on the corner, and everybody in town thinks she's a witch, and Jessica is being Jessica, and, all the unicorn club, the most popular girls in school, turn against her and are quite mean to her, actually. Yeah, it was good. What did I give this one? I think I gave it 4 stars. I enjoyed it. These are fun. They are what they are. It was written in 1986, so you gotta take a lot of this with a grain of salt, but they are a lot of fun, and I do enjoy them quite a bit. So that is the first one that I finished. The next one that I finished was Kills Well with Others by Deanna Raybourn, which is the 2nd book, and I think the final book in the Killers of a Certain Age duology. So I don't think there's going to be any books after this. It seems to me like it wrapped up. I was talking to my friend Cajun Peach. If you're familiar with the live sprints that we do, she's often in the sprints. And she read this one as well. And I think she thought the same thing, that this might be the last one, just from the way it wrapped up. So, like I said, I did listen to this on audio. I did borrow this copy from the library, mainly so I'd have something to show you guys in these videos. But I did borrow this off Spotify to listen to. And it was narrated by Jane Oppenheimer and Christine Delane. So I gave this book 5 stars. I actually enjoyed this one more than Killers of a Certain Age, than the first book. So the premise of these stories, it's about a group of, I don't want to say elderly women because they're only in their 60s. And I'm not that far from there, to be honest. 15 years away or so, right? But they are retiring. They are former assassins who are now retiring, or who are now retired, I should say. So the first book kind of deals with that basically they retired and now somebody is after them. So in this one, it's almost a similar idea, which is why I'm thinking this is the 2nd book or the final book as well, because there's only so many times that you can really continue to do this plot line. But I really enjoyed this one, and I enjoyed this one for something that happens towards the end. So basically in this one, they are being tasked with trying to assassinate this guy, and then this guy's family kind of comes after them. So now they're kind of on the run, and they're fighting for their own lives in a way. This book also takes you all over the world. It goes from, they spend the first bit of the book on the Queen Mary II, traveling from New York to Southampton. Is it Southampton in England? Wherever the ship, the Titanic path. But the Queen Mary II is a steam liner, ocean liner, as opposed to a cruise ship. They are 2 different things. I learned this from watching a YouTuber called Emma Cruises, that a cruise liner and a whatever the Queen Mary II is, they're 2 completely different things. A cruise ship is different from that. Anyway, so they're on that for part of the trip. They're in England. They're in Venice. They're going all over the place. So it's a lot of fun. But there is something, and I don't want to give anything away, something happens towards the end that just, as I was reading it or listening to it, I kind of went, oh, like I couldn't believe it. And then something else happens and I actually started to cry. And I'm like, who knew a book about elderly female assassins would make you cry? But it did. And I loved it. And I don't want to give anything away. It was so, so good. Guys, if you have not picked up this series, you need to give it a shot. Now, I know my friend Stormy over at Storm Reads, she had given the first book a try and she really wasn't a fan. Now, I want to preface this all by saying I have not read Deanna Reborn before. And I know she does. Is it the Veronica Speedwell series she does? I know Storm is a big fan of that series and she really likes it. So my thought is, I wonder if you've read that one, because this is probably vastly different. If this isn't maybe your cup of tea. Does that make sense? That's what I'm thinking. So I don't know, but maybe there's people I don't know if Cajun has read both series and if she likes both of them. So, but for me, as my first foray into this author, I really enjoyed it. So I'm wondering now if I read her other series, am I going to like it as much? Does that make sense? So anyway, this was a 5-star read. I absolutely loved it. I highly recommend it. I recommend both. Even though I didn't love the first book as much. I mean, the first book, I think I still gave 4.5 stars to. So it's not like it was a 3-star read. I still gave it a high rating, but this one just tipped it over the edge for me for a 5-star. And if you guys have been watching me for any length of time, you know how difficult it is for me to give a 5-star review to a book. And the last book that I finished this week was The Cat Who Saw Red by Lillian Jackson Braun. This is the 4th book in the Cat Who mystery series, and I gave it 4.5 stars. One thing happened in this book that just pushed it from a 5-star because I really enjoyed this one. So in this book, Jim Quillerin, our main character, has been given a new assignment at the newspaper, and he is now going to be covering the, what do you call it? The restaurant beat, basically. He's going to be like, not a restaurant critic. They have a food critic, but like this is kind of a different situation. So he ends up doing that, but he ends up moving into this house with his 2 cats, Coco and Yum Yum, 2 Siamese cats. And he runs into his ex-girlfriend, a girl that he dated in high school, like they would have gotten married kind of an idea. But then she took off and left. She's married to this guy. She's a potter. So she lives in this house that they live in has all these different kooky residents, and they all have something to do with food. So like one runs a restaurant, one's a chef, one runs a restaurant, one is another food critic. The pottery people, they make pottery that you would serve food on, kind of an idea. And then she goes missing. And, there's this old mystery with somebody who died in this house. All these things happen. It was really, really good. I really, really enjoyed it. But there is something that happens at the end that I'm not normally someone who does trigger warnings. But I had forgotten that this happened. And because I know, we all joke about this one. There is an actual website, I think, called The Dog Lives, or something about the dog dying or something like that, like letting people know in books if an animal dies. And that's what happens in this book. So I'm going to put my hand up right now. So when my hand goes down, if you guys don't want the spoiler, you'll know not to get the spoiler. But at the very end of this book, you find out that Joy, which is Quillerin's ex-girlfriend, like the woman who who disappears, her cat was murdered by the husband by putting him in a kiln. Again, because it's an animal, and I know a lot of people are super sensitive to the death of animals, I wanted to put the spoiler in here. So, spoiler done. That's what happens in the book. So, it's not drawn out, like you don't get any graphic detail. It's mentioned, and then they kind of move on in a way. I'm glad it wasn't dwelled upon, but it was pretty ghastly when you read it. So I just wanted that put out there. But I did give it 4.5 stars. I liked it. I thought it was a great book. This one actually, so it was the first 3 books that were written in the 60s. And then this one was actually written in 1986. So that was like 20 years later. She came back and wrote book 4, and then the series continues from there. So I'm looking forward to continuing on, and I'm very much enjoying it. So yeah, so that is what I am reading, or what I've read this week, you guys. I wanted to end this by letting you know that I'm going to try something this week. Been having a little bit of problems, not some problems with my software. I don't know whether it was my computer or my software, but I've kind of fixed a couple things in the back end, like with the way that I was exporting the videos, and I'm trying something else. So I'm going to try for a weekly reading vlog this week. Instead of doing like my daily check-ins, I'm going to do a weekly reading vlog. So stay tuned. That will probably be posted next Saturday. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoy it. But yeah, I'm going to let you go now. And I do hope to get some other videos out this week. I want to film some, I'm going to film after this, a couple of category videos. So those will go out on a daily basis. And I'm off work on Wednesday and Friday, so I hope to film a couple videos then as well. So maybe you'll see something else on Wednesday. We're getting towards the end of the month. So it's almost time for month-end shenanigans, basically TBRs for May and stuff like that. So yeah, but anyway, I hope to have some more videos out for you guys. I mean, I am going back to work, but I really like the idea of the weekly reading vlogs. I know a lot of you love them too. They were some of my most watched videos and I enjoyed doing them. It was just an issue with trying to do the software stuff, like trying to deal with this new software with them. So I'm going to try again and we're going to see if it works. Fingers crossed. And yeah, anyway, guys, that is it. I hope you enjoyed this video. And until my next one, take care and happy reading, everybody. Thank you all so much for watching. Bye, guys.